Hello, everybody. My name is Sofia Likouris. I am an academic at the University of Edinburgh, and I am also a member of the UCU branch committee. I am also one of the UCU reps who attend the Joint Unions Liaison Committee. This is an informal session in which, as joint unions, we would like to introduce to staff and students at the University of Edinburgh our new rector, Deborah Kayenbe. We have collected a number of questions from the three unions, UCU, Unison, and Unite, as well as from the Student Association. We will go through these questions now with Deborah, and we should maybe start with Lauren, who will ask the first question on behalf of Unison.
Thanks, Sophia. Hi, Deborah. I'm Lauren. I'm Chair of Unison at Edinburgh University. So I've read a lot about your previous roles in linguistics and law. I just want to offer you this opportunity to discuss that a bit and tell us a bit about yourself and how you feel those roles are going to impact your new role as Rector of the University of Edinburgh.
Previously, before becoming Rector of Edinburgh University, I was a lawyer. It was much more working on trying to prosecute war criminals around the world. And I was assisting the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court on his work. So my job was really to collect evidence and make proposals to the International Criminal Court prosecutor. And for her to appreciate, because most of the time it's always women, to appreciate if it's necessary or it's imperative for these persons to be apprehended and held accountable for their crimes. But as a linguist, it's much more broader because that I've worked as a linguist for almost 15 years, and that covers all refugee camps in the eastern coast of Africa and the United States of America and the UK Border Agency, the courts, and all other services. My role was to help every single migrant, every single refugee come to the UK to settle, to integrate. So from the health issue screening, the initial health issue screening, to the settlement program in the United States, in the UK. So my role was to make a better world for this person, a better world for our society, to make sure everything we wish to realize as a society goes well in a better understanding and transparency between the individual and the country. So I hope to bring that expertise in my new role as Rector.
Okay, so we will continue now with a question from UCU. Vivek, please.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi.
Because court is closed, very few staff know its purposes. Do you think there's a way that you can make court more open, transparent, and relevant to staff in a way that they can actually feel more engaged with it?
So I've been in university for only 10 days. So there's a lot of things for me to learn, but I probably am going to speak to the court on my first ever meeting and to see whether it will be maybe an appropriate manner to explain to the student, to the university community, what is the role of the court? Just starting by that first, because that is not a secret, okay? It's something that everyone, every student should know. Maybe a flyer to present what is the court, if the university can afford that, and to present the role of the court to everyone, a member of the university community, in order to make further step of change. We have to go slowly with it, but it's something that it's really something in my heart to look at this transparency being brought up at the table on my first meeting.
Okay, thanks a lot, Deborah. I think we might have a second question from UCU, Vivek.
Sure. So, Deborah, my next question is about the long-term strategy that the university seems to have in terms of the race equality and anti-racist action plan for the next few years. In particular, the one of the later stages of this plan involves a significant amount of resources dedicated to researching and delivering on reparative justice and reparations programs. What do you make of this reparation program at the University of Edinburgh, and also other similar programs that have been put into effect by the University of Glasgow, for example?
My understanding of I call it investment, in which the university would like to do about the question of racism, which is the question is right now. There has been a lot of talking about we're going to do this, we're going to repair this, but nothing has not been focalized, or nothing has not been prepared for it. So instead of comparing university, I want to understand the way that Edinburgh University, particularly the management, attend to deal with this racism issue. Because I have a feeling that there is some kind of willingness to look at racist issue, but no one has been capable so far until today to channel what is the concrete action which need to be followed here. So nothing has been done at university so far. I've read these reparation plans, but nothing clearly has not been put in place in order to follow. So it's something that I attend to do. It's something I attend to remind management. Listen, you have made promises, you have made consideration. Can we move on seeing who within the university community can take this program forward?
Right. Thank you so much, Deborah. That's been really illuminating.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, let's continue. I think we have some questions from the Student Association. Yeah.
My name is Vivek, and I'm the branch treasurer for the UCU Edinburgh branch, and I'm also a PhD student who was previously a guaranteed hours tutor at the School of Literatures, Languages and Cultures. And I'm one of the members of staff who was employed on a casualized contract. And my first question really is talking to you about this problem of workload and casualization that is so endemic at our university. There are several structural problems like unrealistic workloads because of deliberate understaffing, and a lot of members being off sick as a result of this, and the higher risk of bullying when under pressure. This understaffing also creates a lot of short-term and insecure posts where staff are hired last minute to cover up teaching, and staff's future is, the members of staff who are on these contracts are very uncertain futures because they don't know how long they'll be employed here. How can we get the university to properly fund teaching and properly fund staff, the very same staff and teaching that the university prides itself on so much? How do we get the university to improve on this and make sure staff have fair and secure contracts?
Thank you for this difficult question. I think it's not something new. I cannot say it's because of the pandemic that the university behaves as such, but I think it's between the pandemic and it's between also the behavior of saving some of the things, some money, if we have to say. We live in a capitalist world, and those things are inevitable. But as a rector, this is something that is given to the management to decide. On my role as a rector is to stand for the interests of the staff and students. What I attend to do is everything that, as I said on my first interview, everything that staff and students are doing in this university must be valued. It has to be valued. And it's going to be my role to remind the management that, listen, we are in a very difficult situation, I understand, but we need to value what these people are giving in this university. So I don't attend to be there as a rector watching this unjustified behavior continue, but I want to be at the side of the management to tell them, listen, this is not right. Can we fix it? And how far can we fix this? This is what I'm promising. I cannot do more than I can give. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that answer, Deborah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Deborah. Okay, let's see if Unite has any questions for Deborah. Mark, please.
Really, this is something I have in my heart. The minute this government will say that people can interact at least 2 or 3, I attend to be face-to-face with students by respecting COVID-19 restrictions rules. If we need to wear face masks and standing next to the other 2-meter distance, I want to do that with the university. I need to be in touch with students. I need to run a regular surgery with staff and students to hear exactly what is the issue, what is their problems. I wish to visit campuses when life began to return to normal. I want to see the condition of the students. For God's sake, this is the 3rd most richest university in the UK. So student has to live that standard too. So I tend to understand exactly how it looks like to be a Edinburgh University student before, after, or during the pandemic. I attend to look at all these issues. I'm not getting away from it because of the pandemic. No way. We will start with online interaction, and when the government allows us to be in touch, we will be in touch, definitely.
Let's go back to UCU. I think there was one more question from UCU.
Yeah, thanks, Sophia. And Deborah, I acknowledge this might be an incredibly difficult question.
Okay.
But I know that, Sophia has written to you recently in solidarity on our behalf at the Joint Unions with regard to the racist attack that you had faced when you took up your role. And similarly, students have also been harassed and assaulted on campus in the last several months. There was an incident in front of the library that you were at, and you spoke to the rally. Given a lot of these incidents happening on campus as well as online, how can the university deal with racism head on and with a long-term strategy? And what does it mean to actually build anti-racist culture alongside long-term issues like fighting the hostile environment policies?
The hostile environment policies has been there like forever. Okay, because of what happened in America, people start waking up from their sleep and realizing this is a hostile environment. Because of for so long, we thought this was a right way to live between us as a community. It's going to take a long time for us to continue building this anti-racist environment. What I'm trying to do, I'm looking at two ways here. First, as university. The University of Edinburgh has endorsed the tackling racial harassment policy, in which they have committed to recognize that racism exists in a society, and then they have to put the ways that they can follow this declaration. But in the other way, and in a very practical way, because that my frustration is there's so much things written, there's so much policy there to protect people against harassment, any kind of harassment, but there's no practical way or a very clear way for people to tackle racism. And one of them is people to stand for their rights in all forms. You've been victim of racial abuse, you call the police. You report the case to the police, and you make sure that the police are held accountable, those who committed this crime. And that is the same attitude with the university. As you say, recently, I was a victim of racism. The management came to me and they said, Deborah, you've been in this for long. We don't have experience of this kind. Can you tell us what we need to do here? And I gave them some direction, and they respected that, which is good. But what I'm trying to say here, we are already living in a hostile environment. It's getting worse. But what we need to do is the university accepting that there is racism exists, and that we need to take steps to fight it, okay? And students to realize when you are a victim of harassment, don't go away from it, fight it with your last energy. And the only way you can fight it is to report the case to the police, report the crime to the police, and make sure that the person who are involved in this must be held accountable, because that is the problem. Many of our students, they don't report the case to the police, they run to the media, and nothing is done. Okay? You go to the police, you go to the media. Do that, and you see the difference.
Thank you so much for that really thought-provoking answer, Deborah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll just go to a second question that we have from Unite, and then we'll have a last question on behalf of the Students' Union. Yeah. So, Mark, what is the second question we had from Unite? Please?
Okay. The university has taken a strong commitment to equality, diversity and inclusion. And it's through that it's achieved an Athena Swan Silver Award. But it also accepts donations and support in various forms from foreign governments that don't take the same enlightened position. There's a balance to be found. Have you any idea of what that balance should be? And do you see the court having a role in to play in finding it?
Oh, what a difficult question is this one. You know, the university works with student fees and donations. Okay, let's just go through donations. But as a rector, I don't have a say of whether I accept this donation, and if it's really something that goes down to management, and the principal is the person here to decide whether he's taking the donations or not. But I, Deborah Kayembe, if a donation is given to university and I'm the principal of Edinburgh University, I will look up the background of the person or the organization who's donating at university. That is my judgment. So in this particular case, it's a personal judgment. Those who have the right to accept the donation, who has the capacity to accept the donation, it's their call whether they want to take the donation or not to take it. And usually it doesn't even come to the public eye of university. There was a donation here. We have an anti-bribery policy that every one of us have to sign it. I've signed it 2 days ago. I have to inform the university of all kinds of donation that pass through me. And the university has to be aware of all kinds of donation that the university is giving out. But again, it's really here a personal call from those in charge of getting those donations.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Deborah. And let's see what our last question for today is on behalf of you, sir.
I have to say that the emergency climate situation we have today is because we have wasted our planet ourselves. We made mistakes and we have wasted our natural resources, and the planet is struggling with. And I think it's about time that we include this teaching of climate and this teaching of protecting our nature and being kind in our society to our students. If we can look at the curriculum and insert this new teaching, these new ways of seeing the world, regardless, you know, whether you're doing medicine or you're doing law or you're doing art, but the teaching about climate has to be like teaching racism, because it's all depend on our society. Okay, so if we have our student going through their studies, put an extra in terms of education on climate, an extra in terms of education on racism in our curriculum. As you know, I've petitioned in Parliament for racism for primary and secondary school, but we need to see this happening in university level too. And that is the same. The climate emergency, it is an emergency, it is a priority, and our students need to be aware of that. It's very important.
Okay, thanks, Deborah. Thanks a lot for all of this, and thanks everyone for bringing these questions here and for collecting them from the different groups of staff and students at the university. We hope that we will do a lot more of this. With more questions, from other people once you know, we start kind of rolling with all this sort of like adventure of the rectorship, isn't it? So it's very exciting. We can't wait to sort of start this kind of 3 years and to kind of focus really.
I hope you guys you'll be always there for me, because 3 years is a long way.
Yes. And I do hope that we sort of manage to do something substantial about anti-racism with Deborah here. Yeah, that is my personal hope, that we will manage to do something embedded and grounded in the institution with Deborah as an inspiration and as an advisor on how to deal with that. So thank you very much, everyone, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.